Brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through one thing. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an athlete, immediately goes back, fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. It's time for some more CGL action here. The mid-season tournament already underway. And of course, we just have more and more matches to break down for you here. In case you're wondering who's breaking it down, I am Megalas. I can't, of course, do it alone. I've got Sam by my side today. And Sam, how you doing?
Great. It's a great day for some playoff Overwatch, especially with a new season right around the corner. I'm looking forward to these games going forward for this week and going forward for our first mid-season match.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually something I haven't even really considered, right? This mid-season tournament is going to sort of be the last hurrah of Season 12 before Overwatch moves into the spookiness of Season 13. But like you said, we do have our mid-season playoffs ahead here. We've got TEC versus Completely Melted here in the EU PC Open tier. Both these teams had a pretty good start to the season. TEC a little bit better, undefeated right now. But overall, this should be an even matchup here between these two squads.
You as soon as pretty close, but sometimes that one loss can make or break you from a 3-1 versus a 4-0. You can learn a lot from that loss, but also your opponent can watch that loss and figure out how to beat you and what strategies they need to use to beat you. So that one loss could be detrimental / good to help / hurt you. So we'll see what happens in today's game.
We will have to. Speaking of today's games here, believe it or not, this isn't the only match going on. We have so many brackets, so much action. Currently over on the mainstream, they're covering Yuri Mirai versus Everfrog, and then right afterward, they're going to immediately be going to EMC Chimera versus Melving Industries. But then for our NA Frogs, who, they maybe enjoy their later night Overwatch, you'll have Snowfall versus Mizuchi Esports. So tons of action to cover today. So making sure you're hitting the follow, all that fun stuff. Y'all already know what to do here. But, again, coming back to this matchup between these squads, like you said, it's completely optional here for the side of Melted, right? Whether that one regular season loss, they're going to take it as that learning opportunity, like you said, or if they're, unfortunately just going to get exploited by our first team here, TEC.
As we look forward to this matchup, let's take a look at the roster for TEC. So we got on the TPS projectile, we have Clobber. On the Preventure, which is their favorite DPS, which TEC likes to go anything venture related, and their maps when they go brawl. Honest as the tank. You have Hackerman as one of the supports, and Frag as the other support.
Absolutely. We get to cover TEC a few SNOs back, and the Clobber on the Venture was an icon to say the least, but stacking up on the other side, you can't count out Completely Melted. They have a stacked lineup of their own here. As we are just taking a look at it, the suspense, it's building, it's here. Kurama and Rod FD on that DPS line, Lunar being the reliable tank, and Tomex in Sukaira being your supports here. And I mean, they're highlighting some interesting favorite heroes here.
Usually with this season was the Giga tank. Everybody looks at the tank first, and Ramon has been a favorite. Then on the supports, Brig, as much as she's been nerfed, as much as people have had issues with her, she's still solid. Bap can outpour some healing. And Tracer, I've seen a lot of Tracer play the first part of the season, so I'm not surprised to see a Tracer pick. Cassidy, good solid DPS, the hinder ability, Bang, and then the Deadeye can zone out. So a solid group of heroes, to say the least.
Absolutely. I mean, that Juno Brig backline, like you were talking about, it's been one of the highlights here. And the Cassidy, it could be a good shout, right? Something we've seen sort of coming in and out for a lot of teams regardless, but specifically at tackling the Venture that we know is going to be run on the other side of things here. But that's the other thing, right? TEC, they're still 4-0, even with teams knowing that they're on these Venture comps, constantly playing our favorite tunnel digging heroes. So, it's one of those things where I'm sure they're more than willing to invite these weaknesses, invite these people to try to counter out Clobber, especially as we are going to our first map, no dirt in sight really, in the lovely city of Oasis.
Oasis is going to be interesting because it's first to 3 with King of the Hill. So it depends on which map we go on first, if we have high ground or not. But the venture, I've seen several ventures pop off, and seen not really carry a game, but have done a lot of damage and a lot of sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, the sustainability, like you talked about, it just helps. But beyond that, across all of Oasis, we're going to have to see the team sort of mold themselves and play a few different comps around it, right? When you think of the city center, you think of dive, being able to utilize that high ground, the jump pad, iconic, of course. But then once you're into the university section, I feel like that's where you're really going to see Venture thrive here. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of how well these teams have prepped. Again, there's a certain level of prep you can do, but sometimes you just gotta, be able to look outside of the carry and try to be able to punish other people. As we're getting a look at the entire midseason map pool here, for each round of our bracket, control is determined, but then after that, loser pick. So we've got plenty of options and places to go here for this midseason tournament.
No idea what they're going to pick till they pick it. So you have to literally composition picked up for every map and gift your own game plan, not just on a particular map, but on all maps, because they may have a better win rate than you on a certain map and may try to take advantage of it. And that's where your fun chess matches are start from. You get to map 2, map 3, map 4, then map 5.
Counterwatch can be the name of the game here, especially when you look towards some of our other maps. You have, like, for hybrid, right, a lot of those dive maps are in the pool, the Midtown being the odd exception to the rule there. But again, just it's only time will tell. All we can focus on is the here and the now, and that is Oasis here, as we are just, poking teams with our favorite stick, the ready button stick, making sure that they have all their ducks in a row. Everybody's in the lobby here. But I mean, just breaking it down beyond, right, what we already know, do you think these tank players, are they going to be just stuck in a counter watch situation, Sam, or do you think that that somebody's going to come out in a dominant style on a hero they want, and it's going to force the other team to adapt?
The last few games I've seen, D.Va has still been probably the go-to tank pick, but it goes back to familiarity, in which if, like, TEC likes to run the brawl, I'd be surprised if it's a Ramatra Venture comp or Ryan Brawl. I see it kind of going like what the two teams are going to see, who's doing what, and then you'll see a counter swapping unless they believe in their abilities and believe in their hero picks that it will work. Let's say probably you're going to, if it's a first on Oasis, I could see Brawl. If not, it's a dump. Just see if we see the Winston or we're going to see the D.Va. I feel like I said, it's been a hot pick, so to speak, in which most teams are literally been running her almost the whole season.
Yeah, that D.Va Juno meta really left a mark on people. It forced people to adapt, but now there's going to have to be an extra level of adaptation here, as we are finally loaded in. We are starting on the university here, and it seems like we're going to be starting out on a mirror matchup of our favorite horse. The Orisa is in play here, but it seems like we're not actually starting just yet. This is what happens when servers in Overwatch are just a little bit silly. So we do have to just reset the lobby, make sure that everybody's on that appropriate ping, because hey, it's not fair to make a bunch of European players play on some NA servers. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, now would it?
Trust me, I've seen a lot of games and I play with some people. There are so many pings and so many different time zones, and it does affect us. Because in a normal, like, quick play match, if you're lagging, it's, hey, I can live with a deal with it, it's no big deal. But when you're playing in a competitive setting where there's money involved, yeah, that ping, you're like, nah, I don't ping. So you make sure everybody's on the equal level playing field as much as possible.
Exactly, and we actually got a lucky reroll here. We're back to university as well, so no craziness ensuing just yet here. But something I want to point out, unless there's going to be a random swap, which I don't think so, we are mirroring these Orisas as well as these Mays. What do you think is going to be the key strategy for either of these teams to get an edge in this matchup?
Be the May walls, I believe, and then Orisa has so much sustainability. As long as she needs some healing, like, it's really insane. But my thing is going to be the the Venture and what the Ventures do. If they can, shoot up, do some damage, may ice wall, and see who can output the most damage and who gets the most resources.
Exactly, but speaking of resources, Clobber has already dropped low here, but it'll actually be a reverse. Kurama caught out that May wall, like you said, paying off massively here. Clobber being found out, so both flex DPS have been removed from the fight here. 4v4 situation already going in favor of TEC, however, as they just have the damage there, removing the tank, and the rest now follow, so that'll be first cap going their way.
Like, that was a good, 1v1 right off the bat, but after it snowballed, it was all TEC. And you take that just losing Clobber, just losing the Venture. But right now, both tanks look to be in the same, ult charge and trying to outdo one another. It's, so far, the first fight was very, very competitive. I'm going to see what happens right here in the second engagement.
We will have to see as the Maywall already out from Anthony, able to zone somebody, and that is Sukaira already down. That Brigitte missing, and the rest are going to follow immediately after. The Juno cannot kill all these targets at once, so it is just the Juno and the Orisa now heading back to spawn. Door completely melted, but the Orisa walled. That's going to be a late pick, a stagger, if you will.
That's one of the things. Those Maywalls are so massive and so huge and detrimental. Like, right there, able just to wall off, the tank dies, now you gotta wait for your tank to come back, and it's precious time. Now you're at 50% on the first map. TEC, this is what you want, is you're bleeding the clock as much as you can, and literally no ults have been used yet, but that's probably going to be the next engagement.
Yeah, and so now they're engaging here. It is going to be the orbital ray is all that is needed for completely melted to melt their opposition here, lighting them on fire. Clobber does manage to get one for their trouble, but unfortunately that one is all they will have here, as now melted will flip the point.
And melted is able to flip it, but easily 73%. So if you're a TEC, you go, hey, we use 1 or 2 ults. Hey, we can get this back. And then we're one engagement, one team fight from winning this, go up 1-0 in the best of 3 so far in these King of the Hill maps. I'm interested to see what the Blade does. If Kurama's Dragon Blade can be absolutely insane.
It seems like the Blade isn't even an option yet. The Blizzards are out first here. Both teams trying to find the freeze, but it seems like TEC, with the help of that Juno ult, is just going to town. Kurama now coming in after the fact with this Dragon Blade. Already removed one, but there's still a lot more work to be done. I don't think the one Genji can do it all here. The flip has already come through. The stagger pick, the lone Genji taken out of the fight, and TEC find themselves moving to final fight territory.
I think the Blade, when that immortality comes in, you got to kill the immortality, and that's going to take some of the time. I think that's what maybe stalled it right there a little bit. So kudos to Ackerman for that flush ability. I'm interested to see what Clobber's going to do with the right here. Is this his last engagement?
Yeah, trying to go to the back line here, realizes they can't, but then they just dash to point and find the damage to remove the rallying brig and the Genji here. Ackerman finishing it up, and now it is just cleanup mode for TEC. Blink and you miss it. They take round 1.
For the most part, and that was literally one-sided for the American TEC, exception of one team fight. Looks like the Venture is working for them, and they're comfortable being on that Venture, and it's like, and the Maywalls were both solid on both sides. But overall, I like TEC going with the BAP more than the Brig because they a little more healing output and did immortality to help and can heal at a high angle. So you got to force the Genji to dive up there and try to get it. Overall, kudos to TEC. But now we're on top of this. I'm assuming they're whoever's gonna try to get high ground, they may try to brawl underneath.
We will have to see where these paths end up going here, whether it's the high ground or if they just want to meet in main here. TEC doing a little bit of poke on the point, then realizing, yeah, the fight will be on the high ground here. The Genji, Kurama already low here, and that is Maywall forced out, but they aren't able to capitalize on it just yet, at least. So now both Orisas dueling back and forth, ignoring each other. Immortality field down missing for Ackerman, but the first picks are going to come on the side of TEC here. The Orisa was getting more value, just too much was happening. Johanna is doing what they needed to in that fight, and it's just another one for TEC.
And there you see the ominous music of the team kill. Right there, that was trying to they're going high ground, let's go high ground. And that Genji took a lot of damage, had to come back out. And I thought about the immortality. Immortality comes out and healing everybody up. Let's get rid of immortality. Yeah, you get rid of immortality, but then you lose 3 people back to back to back, and it snowballs out of control. So you gotta do something that didn't work out. Start targeting the bat first to get him out of the fight.
Speaking of Snowball, May now in the ice block, forcing the wall as well here. It is going to make Lunar use some of these pivotal Orisa cooldowns. The survivability now going to be lacking on the side of completely melted here as they are just trading back and forth. Anthony going to have to hide in the corner for a moment after delivering a nice little icicle to the head, but Lunar will remove that pesky May from the equation here. Now an amplification matrix being dedicated from Ackerman, but you can't turn everywhere. The Genji is on you. You have to have some evasive maneuvers, give that one up, and now Thomas also committing into this with the orbital ray on both sides. Both teams have insane amounts of healing, but this blade is trying to cut through it, and it's doing it in spades here, as that will be completely melted, flipping the point a little bit earlier this time.
Flip it at 56% versus 73% last time. But you had to go through what? You went through 2 ults right there. You're gonna have Brig rally. You're gonna have a wrist. Both teams are gonna have wrist ults, and then almost have Bob. So I'm assuming when both teams engage, you're gonna have the Gold come up and maybe hit the Ventral right behind them. If not, it's going to be the May Blizzard.
Just making sure these Blizzards find the value they need to. The Terra Surge combo with it, though. And will anybody be frozen up? It seems like no for the time being. Oh, I say it too soon here. Lunar trying to spin away, but cannot. The damage has been dealt with that Terra Surge max cast time here. Now Bob is out from Rod FD, trying to make something happen in this fight, even though they're already short-handed. The Ashe now removed. The Bob does get one, but it is going to be just the one pick here. And after all is said and done, TEC flipped the point back.
I mean, good to go for 46%. So you're like, hey, we held it for one ball right there. Looking at this engagement, neither team really has an ult, so it's going to be who uses their cooldowns effectively and what's the first big pickoff. Like, and then both of these tanks are getting a lot of resources. So it's one of those, do they put more resources in the DPS role, or do they trust their tanks to make some space and get a clutch pick or two?
Well, currently it is something Lunar having to expend these cooldowns on Orisa to live after getting May walled off. But Kurama gets to work in the backline, removing the Baptiste from the fight. A large source of healing now down the May, but not getting to the cryo in time. Kurama on this Genji has come up massively once again for this completely melted squad, turning them on fire.
Like I said, you gotta target the bat. You target the bat, there's a huge chunk of healing and immortality going. Dragon Blade. So this engagement, you can Dragon Blade if you need to. Both orbitals are going to be available, so I'm assuming it's going to be both of those happen at the same time. Maybe the blade behind it to try to go up at least, I'd say 85 to 90% tick rate, depending on how this engagement's going to go.
We will have to see. The orbitals is going to be something you want to look to here, and it will be first invested from the side of TEC, and they'll be able to come up with one onto Sukaira. Now Clobber missing as well, and this will be the Juno answering back here. The Orisa able to escape, not frozen. It's trade back and forth here. The blade being pulled now from Kurama. This Genji trying to come up big once again here, but going to be met with the torpedoes from the Juno. Now the Terra Surge is trading, but Johannes gets the better end of the trade. Now it is just a lone Ashe against the Robo Horse. Oh, but that being said, Sukaira, after dying so early in the fight, now finally back, and the rally is here as well, potentially to try to turn the tides of this one. A cryo from Armay is trying to stall this out for TEC, not giving the point away, but it will be at the cost of their life now. It is TEC slowly having to get back into this one that Juno is under pressure. But speaking of under pressure, the side of TEC, they're losing member after member. Johannes now going to be the last one standing. A Bob for good measure here means that we are going to a round 3. Round 3 is directly ahead of us, so we will just have to see how this plays out. But it seems like we are having some technical issues. Sam will be able to tap back in momentarily, I promise. But for the time being, we'll just get a look here as we're heading to our favorite jump pad map. No dive from either squad. They are going to be on the battle cattle till the bitter end.
Team fight win for them. It was long and drawn out, but huge. And come on, the G.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive team fight win for them here. And so now heading into the final round, we're going to have to see this matchup of the DPS once again. Kurama on the Genji versus Clobber on the Venture. Who can find more value? It is going to be an early high ground take from the side of TEC. They have their Mei up there and established, but NT gives it up, and the immediately followed up on here. So now the rest of the squad is ready to follow up and do the damage they need to. Completely melted, going to force the jump off the map from Johannes here, and that'll actually be completely melted, getting the first point cap. As it seems we are still struggling with Sam's internet. Pray for the ISP in these moments, doing what they can, and so we'll just have to wait and see how this ends up panning out. Heading into the next fight, we've already got it going. Lunar has managed to find Freg, so completely melted, finally putting it into overdrive with this aggression they're displaying. Now it is Ackerman left to fend for themselves. They can't live much longer. Clobber, now one agent in a sea of enemies, cannot do anything else and goes off the map. I'm trying to see if we can hear Sam. I promise we're not trying to have intentional awkwardness here. Sam, do we have you? Do we hear you? We had a pause in game. It seems like there's multiple issues happening everywhere in the world right now, which is more than understandable here, as we are trying to get things sorted. An in-game issue as well as one in the casting booth. Oh, Sam, hello?
Should be here. Yep.
Oh, wait, apparently there was a patch that is causing people to disconnect. This is an interesting situation, to say the least.
Testing.
I think what we should do, until I think we are just trying to get a lot of tech issues sorted now, because Overwatch is having a bit of a conniption. I think if it's, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead, throw it to a quick break, figure out everything that's going on with this Overwatch patch, and we'll get back to the action as soon as we can.
Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't
Alrighty, thank you very much for bearing with us. Both Overwatch as well as some other connectivity issues decided to do a little bit of trolling, but players are back in lobby. Sam is back by my side here, and we should be able to keep this game all rolling here. Just to catch you up to speed, currently on round 3 of our first control map, Sam, and Completely Melted have kind of been dominating this round so far.
Before we had that technical issue, they were dominating in the last team fight engagement with both Juno ults, maybe the Genji blade, and then something happened, something happened, looked up, it was 97 to 62 to 97 to 100, so yeah, Completely Melted came back and won that round, gets them going, so now we're going to map 3 in this King of the Hill map 2, see who goes up 1-0.
Yeah, as we're already back into the action. Sukaira, though, going to be the first to fall here, so this could be the turning of the tide for TEC. Now it's trying to be turned back the other way, but Lunar stuck still in that Terra Surge cast. Does not seem to matter as the rest of the squad is falling by the wayside for the members of TEC here, and this will be another fight win for them where they don't have to invest a lot.
Not really, as we just come back in and yeah, it looks like Lunar just used ult, and I believe that was it, and they're up 72% to none. TEC looks completely flabbergasted, looks completely different from the first map. I don't know if it's just the confidence was shattered or what, or the shot calling or just team synergy, but Completely Melted looks like a completely different team right now compared to the first map.
They may be melted, but they're still chilling as the Deadeye now being cast from Rod FD, trying to find some value here on the high ground. It does not connect with just a little bit of damage. Now the Blizzard also being out, the ultimates left, right, and center here. Ackerman manages to kill the Blade. Kurama going to pay for that one, but again, flex CPS on both sides, not finding their value. Both now missing from the fight. Is Speed Ring out, trying to keep people mobile here. Is it 44 on the point? TEC trying to continue their wins in this fight here, and they seem like they're going to be able to do just that. Still, again, traded back and forth. Sukaira and the May both down here, and, you know, this is an overtime situation. TEC has to remain on the point. They're going to have to make sure they actually touch it. Clobber is back, removes Rod FD, that problem Cassidy here, and it seems like finally, after an insane back and forth, this should finally be TEC getting the point flip. It could not have come at a later time, but hey, better late than never here, as it will be Clobber coming up with a 3K before the flip comes through.
Yeah, that was in the midnight hour right there. Is okay, your TEC, you get some momentum going, you're kind of stable. But if you're Completely Melted, you're one team fight away from winning this engagement. So I would probably assume try to get Cassidy or high ground, Deadeye, try to get a pick or two. Or try to push with Lunar, use the abilities and the ult as the Orisa to try to open everything up.
As we just saw Lunar do there, removing Frag, and now the Terra Surge, like you said, it's got to come up big. Anthony gone now, that damage also being done, catching Clobber out, zoning the Baptiste off of their amplification matrix, and a spear to his chest will stop that one. Johannes is technically alive here, but there's only so much the Lone Horse can do against the Stampede on the other side of things. This Juno ult from Frag, not long for this world here, and it seems like all is said and done. Completely Melted have flipped the script and taken map 1.
You know, I missed the first part of that third map due to our difficulties, but it looks like that first map was completely TEC. Looks like the second and third. Second was very competitive, but the end of it and the third were all completely melted. And now you see the Dragon Blade got play of the game. That blade was huge multiple times, especially against the Baptiste and the window of opportunity with that immortality.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, that map really was sort of Completely Melted, starting to figure out TEC, right? They started punishing the Baptiste more and more. You saw the Genji getting insane amounts of value as it just continued going here. And, you know, I think that's something TEC really wasn't ready for, right? I feel like there's been so much focus on this squad, onto Clobber, on the Venture here, that maybe, you know, this could be one of the few answers you can start to find, right? Start punishing the rest of the squad around them. Start making them feel uncomfortable. That way, Clobber, it doesn't matter what they do.
I think it was more or less, hey, the Clobber's going to run the Venture. And you, like you just said, hey, how about instead of focusing on Clobber, focusing on the supports, focusing on other things? And, like, you know, hey, that Genji's diving the back line, and there's no DPS. The tank can't turn around and with no mobility to get there in time. And a good Genji versus a Baptiste that can redirect, dash, kill, reset, everything. Literally shut it down. So kudos to Melted for going up 1-0. Let's see if Tech has any answers, if they're going to do any swaps or figure out when they need to turn this around and make this a 1-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, they have ample opportunity. As we discussed, it is a loser pick heading into hybrid here. So they have options to choose from, as well as, potential substitutions that could be made. We will just have to wait and see. It seems like, while we are just waiting, though, discussing what could be the start of something very interesting, right? Both teams opted for our Orisa Brawl, very standard this day and age, right? A lot of people have been noticing the value in sustain and survivability of the horse. Do you think that could change? Do you think we're going to see potentially try to pivot to a dive map, or is it just going to be all day, every day Orisa?
It depends on the map. It depends on the map and which they try to do next. Me personally, I like the dive. I like my Diva and Winston. It depends because it's loser picks, and if they're like Brawl, they're gonna probably pick a brawling map to go with. Depends on what that's going to entail, what map pick they're going to choose. So it depends on everything. So since TEC lost, and I know like the Brawl with the Venture, I would assume they're gonna do a Brawl map, but we're not sure till it happens.
Yeah, we are not sure here, as it seems we are actually having a bit of a lobby issue here. It seems as though we may have somebody trying to skirt the rulebook a little bit here in CGL. So we will just we're just trying to get things sorted out with that before teams make full decisions or anything like that. But yeah, this might actually be a forced swap that has to happen for this side of Completely Melted, as it seems as though Sukaira is not officially listed on the roster site. So we are just having to sort of have our admin sort this out, figure out exactly what's going on there before any other decisions can be made, because at the end of the day, the rule book is king, and you kind of have to obey the king in order to play.
Talking about that, do want to give a shout out our staff. They do an incredible job. Not just our mods, not just our admins, but our stream leads and our producers. Without them, the league wouldn't run as smoothly as it does. So hey, they put a lot of work in behind the scenes. So if you get a chance, if you're in our server, say hey, thanks for everything you do, because they bust their butts behind the scenes to make this as smooth as possible.
Yeah, but so it is just sort of us, sitting here chilling as we wait for things to be decided. And while we could ramble about maps, we could ramble about fun stuff too. We have, like we were saying, a whole new season of Overwatch starts next week. We got the Halloween skins. Sam, who do you think gets the Mythic this time around?
So, if memory serves me, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. It's Stigma last tank Mythic, and it's been like a year or so.
No, so it was Orisa, which it still was a long time ago. Since Orisa's Mythic, we've had back-to-back supports and now back-to-back DPS. With the Ashe and the Reaper, and then before that the Mercy Moira. So it has been a while since we've had a tank Mythic. I'm in that same wheelhouse, but do you think we'll actually get it for a tank?
Says yeah, because you got to be fair. Like, you've had 2 and 2. Part of me says yeah, we need to go on ahead and probably a tank. If I had to take a guess, Orisa had one. Stigma, I think he had one.
Mm-hmm.
Mine has a lot. Wrecking.
I mean, Wrecking Ball. You want to talk about a tank right there? That'd be an interesting Mythic.
Yes. I'd even go way off the grid and say, how about Roadhog? Last time he got a good legend/mythic skin.
Hear me out, right? Roadhog Mythic for the Halloween theme, he has the different like iconic killer mask. Like you can do like a Scream mask, Jason, Michael. You could do them all. Granted, you'd have to like knock them off a bit. That way, you don't get sued into oblivion. But I mean, listen, that's a good shout right there. That actually is a really, really good shout. The Roadhog. I didn't even think of that one.
It's just one of those. I try to look at the map and look at the heroes and say who has or has not got a mythic or rare or something. Figure out who each slash deserves one. Because it's like, oh, they.
Okay, so not to if we're being told our mythic conversation is boring, totally. So while we are having our lobby admin sort things out, we're gonna throw it to another quick break. We promise we'll be back on the other side of it with some sort of solution and resolution, so we can continue some Overwatch for y'all.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
All righty, so we are back. Unfortunately, it is not with the best of news for people who were hoping to continue watching this match. Bad news. It seems as though that will not be the case. Had a little bit of a rulebook discrepancy, completely melted, did not have a eligible fifth player available to them. So after some deliberation with both teams, Team TEC has elected to take the forfeit win that they are legally allowed to. So they will be moving on in the bracket here. But that's the best thing is this is just midseason, right? This is just a midseason tournament, so it's not going to hit your standings at all. Just sort of bounce back from it. That's all you got to worry about right now if you're completely melted.
It's not the end of the world. You can come back from it. Use it as a learning experience and, get your stuff together. But in the meantime, as this game ends the way it ends, unfortunately, for those that are very competitive, check out CGL 1. We have a game going on right now. We also have some games coming up later today. As we see on screen, we have EMC, Chimera, and Smelvin Industries. And then we have Snowfall versus Mizuchi Esports. If you are not following or anything, hey, give us a follow on our Twitter or X, whatever it's called, whatever you prefer. Give us a follow on our Twitch, subscribe to our Twitch, subscribe to our YouTube, join our server, keep up to date with all of our games and all of our events and everything as we have something going on pretty much all day, every day. Try to have something going on. Yeah, just give us a subscribe, give us a follow, stay in contact, like, share, retweet, refollow stuff.
Couldn't have said it better myself, but yeah. Like we said, we're going to send you over to CGL 1. They're currently still live with that match, and they'll have another back-to-back banger for you there because we have all the mid-season action trying to be covered as we can here. But for me and Sam, this is going to be end of the day. So, be safe, all that fun stuff, and we will see you all next time.